So let me begin with the first question. Looking back at your journey, what made you stay back in India and take the risk of building a business instead of pursuing a conventional career in France?
See, when I came here to India for my internship, and I mean, I felt pretty good in being in India and during my internship time. So I started also thinking, what's next? Now I was feeling comfortable enough to stay longer. So I was like, either I go back to France and I will end up taking up a job in like a marketing agency or like a big group as a like mostly in marketing. So I had this option, or stay here and start something on my own. So when it came to, I mean, I was at that time I was 22 years old, and as I said, I was feeling quite comfortable here, and I felt that this opportunity would be once in a lifetime. So either I seize it now, or otherwise I will never have the same kind of opportunity. I'll just go back to France and start working. So, like for me, I'm someone who's kind of very open-minded and also like who likes challenges. So this was a good challenge. I mean, for me, it was, yeah, definitely like challenging myself and see if I'm capable of starting something from scratch and be able to build a product and a brand.
Nicholas, Tejas will move on with the next question.
So, sir, when you started with your food truck and later Paris Panini, what were your biggest challenges and how did you overcome those challenges?
See, the biggest challenges I would say was to build products in a unknown category, because it was like the sandwich, and I mean panini exactly, and people here in India didn't even know what's a panini. So the main challenge was mostly educating people about what is an homemade baked bread, like what is how is my sandwich different from the bread that you get in India also, because here in India people get naan, get roti, a different kind of bread. So mine was very different. So that's where there was a big part of educating people about this kind of sandwich, like mostly like educating about the value also that I'm bringing to the table, and make people understand what is a panini and why they should try it. Quite a lot of time, because see, I would say that's where my presence in the food truck and being like facing customers and talking to them was very very important. And without also without like without facing customers from the very early days, you will not necessarily get feedback on your product. You will not know the even the reaction of the people having your product, and that's something that is very important in the initial days.
So he makes to ask, like, what opportunity did you identify in the Indian market, that was not there in France? And what key strategies helped Paris Panini?
So see, in France, bread, bakeries, sandwich concept are quite are very popular. Like in
Yes.
every corner of the cities, you have French bakeries, you have like people selling sandwiches, and that's in fact what was missing for me here is to not find my sandwiches like back home, and when I realized that the street food market is so high in India. Like in the sense, people love street food here. They love like snacking, munching on anything. Like in the street, they are always like food vendors also. And I was surprised that we can't find a gourmet sandwich or even like a premium sandwich brand in the
An
street,
authentic,
because
an authentic French place.
yeah, I
Okay.
mean, see, authentic French, definitely. Like when I started, it was in 2014. So there were barely, any French people or even foreigners were still fairly limited. But what I mean to say is more, why there was no like premium sandwich brand in the market. At this time, there was Subway that was the most popular, and I mean, since it's in international brand, like people would kind of go there and be like in France at this time in 2014, there was a lot of concept emerging, making everything in house from the bread to the French fries to the sauce, everything was made in house. So that's the concept that I wanted to bring here because I felt that, yeah, why not have like a freshly made sandwich rather than just having, frozen ingredients put together or like some very in industrial sauce that are put inside like a industrially made baguette, so it was very like make something from scratch so that you control the taste, you control the price, you control the quality, and that way you have something that you really craft yourself. So that was the main idea. And also like, see, if you make something on your own like this, who will be able to copy you? Nobody, because you're making everything in house. It's not like you're taking one ingredients from one retailer, another one from another retailer. It's basically things that are made, that are cooked from scratch, so people will not be able to copy it.
So, what achievements are you most proud of?
I mean, that's an interesting question. I think it's mostly like having people to accept the product as it is and being able to scale that much. Because, like, see, I'm proud of that I found my partners after building the food truck, because that's literally like the food truck was mostly to get proof of concept. So then from proof of concept, uh, be able to find investors, be able to raise money, and from there be able to scale the product. So for me, probably it's being able to transition from the food truck to the brick and mortar format, because it took me a couple of years to build this audience, educate the people about the product, make the people aware about what is a sandwich, a panini, people aware about the concept that I was building. Because then when I started Paris Panini, when I rebranded to Paris Panini, the groundwork was already done. Like, we had made the menu, we had made like pretty much everything, and we had a fairly loyal audience as well. Like, the numbers were not obviously as big as what it is now, but whoever had tried a product was very happy and was coming back. So that was, like like I had this feeling of people love the product. I just need to bring more awareness in Bangalore about the brand, about the concept. And since there are so many people who already like it, it will, I mean, it should work. So, that's what my partners also felt. Like, they've heard really good things about the product. They've also tried the product and loved it. So that's why they were also, they were okay to invest in the concept.
Thank you, Mr. Nicholas. Also, one more thing. Following up on your previous answer, you said curiosity was the factor that helped, Indian customers to move towards your product. But how did you adapt to the taste of the Indian tongue? Because like Indians have a particular taste, right? So like, how did you adapt their taste to the French cuisine? Like, is it solely because of like how good your food was, or like was there more to it? Was it more in the advertising?
See, like overall, even when I started, especially my recipes were like traditional French. There was no spices, like very like normal French product. Now over the time, see, we've added a few spicy sandwiches, like spices, like in the sense, again, it's crafted sauces that we make so that we don't have this Indian taste. I don't want to like bring Indianized product to the menu, because I really feel that people in Bangalore, they want more and more authentic experience. And you have the same traditional recipes, and then here and there you can probably add a few tweaks. Like, let's say, as I said, I introduced a spicy panini, but again, keeping in mind the French flavors, because I don't want to Indianize the menu.
So, sir, now that you have all this experience and knowledge, if you had to start from scratch, how would you go about building a business?
Interesting. So I would give you a simple example. You might have heard. I mean, I'm sure you would have heard of my partner Abhijit Gupta, who's the founder of Smash Guys. So,
Also,
uh,
the pizza bakery.
great marketing lesson is built in public. He's taken the audience, the public to from the moment he started, even much before he started, to make people understand about the process of launching a restaurant, the process of launching a brand, what it takes to build a product. So, by showing the people how you do it, it kind of gives you more trust, and also more, people will be more confident about what you do because you're not hiding anything from them. And that's what people want. It's people want authenticity, and they want trust when they come to your place. And if I had to do it again, I would not I mean, the food truck was very difficult, and again, one problem was there was no uh, regulations for food truck. There was no proper licensing as well. So that's also why when we decided to scale, the idea was to scale to brick and mortar outlet, because at least there is regulation around this format. But yeah, build in public, uh, show people what you're doing, talk how like great you're building it, tell how like sometimes, I mean, it hurts, but sometimes things are great. It's not always looking green or beautiful, but people are always happy to see whatever works and doesn't work as well. And that's how you can definitely build a product.
What are your future plans for Paris Panini, and where do you see your brand in next few years?
So from next year itself, we'll open in Hyderabad, and the idea is we are going to expand one city at a time. Bangalore, we still have a few outlets to open because now we have 18 locations. We have about, I think we have eight dining, eight dining location and 10 cloud kitchen. So the idea is to convert some of the cloud kitchens that we have now into a proper restaurant setup and dining setup. And then from there we will open in different cities.
Thank you.
How did you attract your first customers and how did you advertise? Because French cuisine was still new to customers, right?
Yeah. So see, when I started, I had the food truck, and when I started in 2014, I was one of the first food truck. So people were very, curious to know about this new concept. So, it's like when you start a new trend, like you start a new business that is trendy, people will not necessarily think too much. They'll give it a try. Like, let's say matcha. Like nowadays, people like matcha. So people will not necessarily think too much. They will go for it, and they'll see if they have a great experience, they'll come back. So that was basically what happened is I went on the trend of this food truck, and so when I started, there was actually a line where there was a 2 hours waiting to get the food. So that was that kind of launch that we had made, and also we didn't launch overnight. We built up the customer base in the sense we we for we prepared the brand for 1 year. So, but during, let's say, 6 months, we were just telling them that we are in the process of getting ready. So people got quite excited along the way, and then when we had to launch, there were a lot of people coming, and they wanted to try the food because again, it was something very unique in Bangalore. Like nobody was making this kind of sandwiches, and in a very like different setup, because it was the food truck. We did it at the Alliance Francaise, so we had a good environment to start. So that's how we were able to have a fairly successful launch.